All right, what's up, everyone? It's Brand. Today we got a very special live stream for you. We've got Hexdeck 16 that's going to be joining us. He's got a project in a social experiment called Loose Change. It's a social experiment, like I mentioned, and we're gonna have him on in just about 90 seconds once the intro is done. So give me just a second. We'll talk about that. We'll hear his story, how he got into Hex, and then we'll talk a little bit about the sacrifice. We've got less than 2 days until the sacrifice actually ends. So give me just a second and we'll get right into it.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say hey. Say hey. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. Brand.
Awesome. So we're going to bring on Hexdeck 16 right now, and we're going to hear a little bit about more how he became a Hexican, and then also, like I said, the social experiment that he's got. So how are we doing today, my friend?
Hey, good. It just cracks me up. Nagaboo is awesome. He's
It's so cool how much talent we have and like how many Hexicans that we've got that go back to the previous streams and like make little cuts like that, because that was Joe Hexotic or XO Joe. And it's really cool to see, that process that's done, because it's an awesome experiment, and it's cool to like share it and stuff like that. So I'm happy to use it as the intro.
Yeah, terrific. I remember we were at the original meetup there at I forgot the guy's name, Dave's Last Resort, picking up badges, t-shirts. In fact, I should have just threw my my Vegas badge on for the fun of it. But yeah, and honestly, there, I didn't even know Nagaboo before the meetup. So, but yeah, people were like, "That's Nagaboo." I'm like, "Who's Nagaboo?" He's fantastic.
The beautiful thing about the community itself is there's just so many people within it, and there's different genres and styles for what people like. Children of the Grave, yeah, I know we've got certain audio settings set, so I'll just kind of mute in between. But yeah, the audio is fine, and yeah, Naga's definitely a great guy, and it was cool to meet him in Vegas along with yourself and many other people. So yeah, I mean, without further ado, can we maybe get into how you got into crypto, how you got into Hex, etc.?
Sure. And if there's clip or something going on, how I got into crypto was November 4th, 2016. I entered into Bitcoin, stretch $134 per Bitcoin. And that was my interest in crypto. And I did it off of the most commercially available platform at the time. I won't mention their name because I want to give credit to them. But it got me interested into the dynamics of what cryptocurrencies were.
That's awesome. I mean, it's always nice to have a couple years under, your experience, and it's nice to kind of learn how the first cycle works. I mean, the thing that I've learned is with any industry, whether it's like real estate or stocks or whether it's cryptocurrency, it seems that a lot of people, when they first get in, it's at the beginning of the crash, and then it's like, oh, okay, we're kind of holding and getting strong hands as we crash, and then it's like, okay, let's actually learn how this system works and how the market cycle works. So it can definitely be that way with cryptocurrency, but it sounds like you definitely got in at a prime time, and that's awesome to hear, how many years you have under your belt.
The amazing thing, is the fact that I think it was just at the beginning of January of 2017. One of my coworkers at the shop, I was an automotive detailer, retired chef, and I went to basically, I was an automotive detailer for a auto company here in Montana, and one of the workers came to me who I got interested in crypto, and he bought Ethereum at like $7. He bought like 55 Ethereum at like $7. And he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I don't know anything about Ethereum." I'm like, almost, that's a scam type thing. But I didn't say scam. I mean, I just have no knowledge of it. I said, Bitcoin was the thing back then. The ERC20 ICOs took off in 2017. So that was a brand new product, and I hadn't a pretty conservative individual. So I'm very about, I understood Bitcoin. I read something about it. I read a book that really kind of my, I mean, still big. I mean, $634 to where we're at, like, 30,000 now. I mean, reached the 65K top, Richard said, but that was kind of the gateway introduction. And I honestly did not do my research on Ethereum until after the crash of 2018.
How did you find out about Richard Hart, and when did you first become introduced to what Hex was? I know you mentioned Ethereum, after the crash or as it was going in 2018, but can you explain how you found out about Hex? What did you think about Richard Hart initially, and when did you become solidified within the Hexican community? And I also do want to hear your thoughts about Pulsechain and stuff like that, but I'm curious to see when you got in on Hex.
Actually, give me an idea. I was following Richard Hart on a separate venue through YouTube back in the Top Hat days. So I followed all
Nice.
his stuff, don't gamble, don't drink, don't smoke. Just life improvement stuff is what he was doing before the big bull run. And then, he was an Maxi, and intelligent guy, super intelligent guy. And I'm like, the stuff was resonating. So I'm like, this is right. Even then he didn't like Ethereum. The amazing thing, and what kept me sticking with him, was the fact that as an intelligent individual, he came out later and said, "You know what? I was wrong." Well, Ethereum sucked back then, but go forward, Ethereum didn't suck. So I think it was like, I'm going to do something on the Ethereum platform. And I've been following him all along, I laugh because people or something like that, and I'm just like, hey, what you know? I'm like, just shut up and look. I say that many times after, but initially, like, he wasn't like, going through the Bitcoin days, but got over time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome. I might have not have heard it. Did you mention that it was, which day did you get into the adoption amplifier, or you said you might have seen Richard Hart from the beginning?
Oh no, Bitcoin hacks. I mean, I followed the development and what he was talking about the whole time. So I knew about it. I knew what was coming, and I'm just like, this makes sense. I mean, honestly, I wish I was half as intelligent as I was back then, or a little bit more, twice as intelligent as I was back then. Because, like I said in the initial part, I'm a conservative guy, so I only deployed 25% of my capital into the project when it initially launched. I was in day one. Just not even a question. The holdback was the fact that I could have deployed probably 75% more capital in the initial launch phase of the project.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. It's always easy to be like, man, I was kind of conservative, like you mentioned, and I didn't realize that this was going to take off like it has. And so, yeah, I mean, hopefully with the 25%, that's still done good enough, for you to see some results and whatnot. I mean, I know a lot of people, like I mentioned, that kind of have that hindsight bias and stuff like that sometimes, but it's you never know how that's going to act when it comes to the other cryptos, so maybe you just had some of that experience from the previous cryptos and you kind of wanted to play it more conservatively. But even with the gains that we've seen, like you mentioned, a few thousand X and whatnot, even with 25% of the portfolio or capital can definitely equate to a lot.
Well, no hindsight bias on my point. That 25% of capital allows me, if I wanted tomorrow, just retire for the rest of my life. So I'm not sad. I don't regret. The only thing, I look at it like, hey, you make your decisions and you move on. But when we get into Pulsechain, I'll tell you a little about my deployment on that. So I have no regrets. 5% absolutely put me over the top in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, that's so cool. Same thing with myself, right, for a lot of the people that were just getting into it that might not have been previous investors, but still wanted to invest a few $1,000s. I mean, if you had invested a few thousand and still held it for the 3,000x that it did, or plus some, then it's okay, like Richard mentions, people could have bought Bitcoin at a penny or 10 cents or $1, but how long did they actually hold it for? So it's awesome to hear that, you mentioned even with the 25% that it's been good. But yeah, I guess let's kind of get into a little bit of Pulse. I mean, we've got a little bit over a day. I can look into the specifics just in a few minutes, but we've got a little bit over a day. And, how have you thought that the sacrifice phase has gone? Have you possibly participated, or what are your thoughts on Pulsechain? Because I personally think it's going to be like that Ethereum 2.0, where it's Ethereum, it's a fork of it, and then it's kind of like the next generation. But I'm curious to hear, what your thoughts are.
No, and I was again, just for the record, I was day one on my sacrifice. So I wasn't game theorying it. I wasn't looking at what we're doing, that type of thing. I'm and phase was about a 10 time, 10, no, more than that. Anyways, it was quite substantial. I was a little less conservative with my investment principles during the sacrifice phase, and I wasn't gonna game theory it. I just went in day one. I got my stuff done. I think I did for the loose project. I did sack day 2, I think it was, or 3. But it was in those initial 5 days. And I think this stuff is gonna be a wrap tomorrow, right? I mean, we're done pretty much. with the whole thing, and I'm excited for it. You know, because I even told some of my fellow here in Montana that I'm like just continue. I posted a Twitter thing. I'm like, you know, into the game, or Bitcoin got me, and Pulsechain will put it out of the park. Use a baseball analogy. It's honestly, it's going to be incredible. I mean, and people will sit there and go, "What?"
No, I mean it's definitely true. I feel the same way, and I've watched a handful of Richard Hart's recent streams, and yeah, Ronaldo. We'll have to kind of configure everything at the end, but yeah, it is kind of what it is for now. But anyways, yeah, when it comes to Richard Hart and like what he's done for Hex, like I've seen what the advancement has been. I've seen what the community has been like, and then I've seen what it's been like with Pulse. You know, being on the ground floor of each project. I mean, Hex was the product. Pulse is the project, and it's exciting to see like that there is so much more user participation within Pulsechain than say even Hex, you know. And I know some metrics can kind of be vanity and have their own measurements, but with the engagement and with the lack of bots that I see, it seems to be like a lot of people that might have missed say Hex per se, but then now they see Pulse and they're like, okay, I don't want to miss the boat a second time in a row.
Agreed. And I think Richard's put it out there too, is the fact that he was surprised about some of the metrics, you know, just using Telegram chats and stuff like that. The fact that you know, the adoption for the Telegram for the amount of users by about a third, but such at a quicker ratio. I mean, you know, the slow metrics in Hex, you know, really was captured, you know, and thought about by him is like, people get this. People get Pulsechain a lot easier than they do Hex. Hex can be hard to explain at times. For people who are in crypto is easily understood, and they get it faster, quicker, that type of thing. So I think it'll have a quicker ramp up and use case.
Totally. I mean, I definitely agree. And speaking of which, can you maybe tell us about how the loose change social experiment is going? You know, what it actually is as a experiment that you've done so far, and kind of like what the results have been. I mean, I know we've got the Pulse chain sacrifice here, and you know, you mentioned that maybe you have sacrificed some of that loose change for the Pulse, but can you maybe explain like what the process is, how you got started, and you know how it's going currently?
Sure. The original Loose Change project was started as an automotive detailer. We get cars traded in, and they're just traded in cars. So you have to was, you know, 5 nickels times quarters, whatever, you know. I kind of made a joke out of it, you know, like, you know, kind of scrounge up some loose change. The crypto I initially started investing that loose change in, because they're a garbage product and probably failed by now. But at the time, you could get 16 of them for a penny. And then a couple months later, you could only 8 of them for a penny, and then 4, and then 2. And so and that was, probably about 3 years ago, about investing in crypto but yeah, it was a fun social experiment. Unfortunately, the group I was working with, the whole website thing shut down. It was a free website type thing. It's never been never ever advertised as a paid group, because I think, information should be free and available. So, for sure is after doing so well in X, when Pulsechain was launched, I was thinking about it back in Vegas, and I was like, let's do it. Loose Change 2.0. It's a social experiment.
Yeah, I really like that from the stream that you had done with Nerd Girl, even for just 5 or 7 minutes, kind of the project of it. And I've seen you in the Pulsechain Telegram a lot, kind of talking about it. No worries, my friend. No worries. We'll definitely take a look. But anyways, I saw the project about the loose change and kind of what you had done. And like I mentioned, it's kind of like the underdog story when it comes to, oh, this is just a little bit of change here and there. But what is a small amount in the moment can definitely be a large amount later. And especially if you have invested it in, not just the fiat that it was, but the crypto that it eventually became, and maybe into something like Hex. Like when it comes to as I mentioned earlier, the 3,000 plus X. All it takes is $1 to be $3,000 if you could have gotten in at the right opportunity and held for long enough. So it's really cool to hear someone like yourself kind of doing that social experiment, because even for someone like myself, I've realized okay, I do have some change in my car, and I do have, a handful of dollar bills that are, here just in case I need to tip or have change. But it's cool to hear someone like yourself doing a similar thing and converting it into something that's a little bit better of a store of value.
Yeah, and I saw some of the comments. My audio is sucking. The audio is still good. I can hear you now.
You know what?
Send you a little.
Can you still hear me?
Okay, got your. Now I can hear you. Your audio is off. I saw it.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, we'll just end in just a few minutes here. Can you maybe,
Okay.
Next time we'll kind of just, make sure, I guess, that the audio sounds fine, even though it did right before we streamed. But can you maybe tell us,
Right, I know.
What your idea is for the Loose Change project, and where you kind of see it going forward? Because personally, I've had, some spare change in my car and stuff like that. And it's been nice to throw it back into fiat and then throw it back into crypto and, have more money than it was worth.
Sure. Like, it cost you like 15, 16 bucks. I'm like, maybe if for one day you just made a decision that, you're going to set $15, $16 aside, not spend it on a month, invest it. And you can have like $60 worth of, talk about turning dirty fiat into clean crypto. But even you, I think it was back, was it September 10th, 2011, was your stream on making Uncrustables, making the jelly sandwiches, the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. you know, that is, and I said this back on Nerd Girls channels, I'm like, just make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and bring some rich potato chips. Like, take that. If you say you have no money to invest in crypto or to invest in your future self, I'd say myself, because small things over time with delayed gratification turn into large opportunities. And I've been in like 6 years. I did it. I used to tell my coworkers, I'm like, I'm gonna be a millionaire, and they're like, Scott, you're the guy who like scrounges change at a car. Like, okay, whatever. And I was like, we would go to corporate meetings in the morning, 5-minute meetings, and then I think it was 2016. I'm like, buy Bitcoin. And myself, right? Well, the long story short is, and when Hex came along, I'm telling people, I'm like, buy Hex. I'm like, I've done the research. I followed Richard through the development of the project. I'm like, this is solid. And they didn't invest. There's one guy who did. I think he got it in 19 days or 16 days after the initial launch phase. So he's very thankful. He made a small investment, which will make a difference in his life going forward. So I'm grateful for that. I love people.
Hell yeah. I mean, thank you. Thank you for coming on and, sharing a little bit about your story. We'll definitely have to, catch up more soon on how the Loose Change project is going, and, just to hear a little bit more of an update, because we're all kind of waiting for the sacrifice to end and for the, testnet to start and for the chain to launch before we can kind of, talk more about a Pulsechain and stuff like that and the development of it. But, I tell you what, it's awesome to hear another Hexican OG and now a Pulsechain OG, and to kind of hear, more about some of the story and like how you got into it, because I think everyone has their own story, right? And it's cool to be able to hear the success of everyone.
Yeah, and then I'll make sure I have the headsets, so the audio is better. We'll work little bugs out. Sounds good.
Awesome, my friend. Well, yeah, it's all a learning experience, and same thing for myself. Like I mentioned, like the first stream that I ever did was on Discord Syndicate, and it was on my phone. I couldn't hear them, but they could hear me. And then the second stream, I finally realized to use the computer. But there's always a handful of things that kind of go in with it. But yeah, anyways, next time we'll definitely, like I said, we had the audio fine before the stream started, and then the stream started, and then, but anyways, we'll definitely, we'll talk more a little bit soon, my friend. And yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing at least a little bit more of your story.
Yeah, and mentioning Discord, so the guy, I followed him when he first launched the channel, and that guy rocks. I was happy to meet him in Vegas, but I love his story and just his kind of toughness, tough love.
Totally, man. Well, yeah, we'll definitely catch you next time, my friend. Thank you very much for coming on for a few, and like I said, we'll definitely talk more next time on the update, and hope that everything's going well with the Loose Change social experiment.
Sounds great. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, bro. Okay, guys, so we're just going to cover just, a couple more things really quickly. I just wanted to say what's up to the chat. Looks like that there was one person that thought Hex was a scam, which is kind of funny. So Billy Elliott says Hex is a scam, period. That's fine if you want to feel that way, but there's no actual evidence or proof or corroboration that you can provide that shows that it's a scam. So a scam is kind of when you're, taking value from people and you are, you're lying to them, saying that it's going to be one thing and it ends up being another, just like BitConnect was. But Hex has always been honest from the very beginning, from the get-go, right? So there's no validation in that argument, to my opinion. Max Bonnet says, or Bonnet says, hey, Bran, hey, HexDeck16. All right, let's see what else we got. Let me just scroll up a little bit. There was a couple Hexicans that had some stuff to say. So yeah, Pulse Lord was first. Shout out to you, my friend. He makes great music, great raps, and then he also does like some TA and does some videos here and there, about like 10 or 11 minute videos. So definitely check him out. Peanut Butter Hexer says, yo, everyone is behind Pulse Lord. Great name, dude. Yeah, exactly. It's a great name for sure. Let's see. I'm here to figure out what I'm supposed to do with all this loose change. Exactly, right? And, that's the thing that kind of intrigued me about HexDeck16's story, was that you might just think, oh, this is 1/100th of a dollar, right? This is just 1 penny. But then that penny can add up into, multiple different, quarter, nickel, stuff like that. And so it was really cool to hear him initially on the Pulsechain.com Telegram, talking about how, a couple $100 here and there. And then you convert that into crypto and it's like, okay, well, what time did you convert it into crypto? Was it when Ethereum was at $81, or was it when Hex was, a tenth of a penny, stuff like this? So it definitely adds up more quick than you can think. And I've always liked the story because it goes to show people that you might have, X amount of dollars in your bank account, and you might think a penny, like, oh, let me just throw this away instead of, putting it in a savings and holding it for later. But that can definitely add up, Baggio does 369 euros. Thank you. Yay. 2 of my favorite Hexicans. Awesome. Happy to hear that. Peanut Butter Hexer says, sitting here eating an MRE, which is like meal ready to eat, waiting for the show. Awesome. MT Coiner says, I'm actually in HexDeck's town for some business right now, waving from across town. Awesome, man. Happy to hear that. The beautiful thing about, crypto and Hex and the internet and stuff like that is, with Las Vegas, we had a lot more Hexicans than I anticipated. Maybe 30 to 100 is what I was thinking. And then it ended up being 300. So that was really cool. And it's awesome to hear that you're kind of in that area as well. What's up, Piston Broke? How you doing? Peanut Butter Hexer says, mentioned your name as one of the Montana Hexicans. We're going to have to do a meetup one of these days. Yeah, I feel the same way when it comes to Seattle area. I know that there's a handful of people that are in the community. Oh, okay. HexDeck16, he's still in the private room. He says, Peanut Butter Hexer is one of my Hex adopters. That's awesome, right? It's really cool to be able to share something that is so intriguing, even though it was just designed to run its function, which is trustless interest and, programmable money and stuff like that. Like, it's like Richard says that our programmed money is better than the government's programmed money, aka fiat and, helicopter money and stuff like that. So it's really cool to be able to, same thing that Richard Hart says, like, instead of trusting humans, you can kind of trust the code and the math, as opposed to, being lied to and faked out. Definitely, I'm in a little bit of a spot of the next 2 months, but that should be no problem end of year, earlier next. yeah, it's crazy what a little bit of wealth can do to the net worth, can do to your position. So definitely wish you the best. All right, cool. Let's see. Are we there yet? No, we're just beginning. The rocket ship has just left the base, but you might still be able to attend the moon. Am I the only one seeing nothing happening? It's already 3. The audio should be fixed now. Refresh for anyone who isn't seeing the stream. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I mean, sometimes it's something that you can't necessarily control, right? You've got his internet, my internet was working just fine before the stream started, and then sometimes there's just difficulties. So at least, hopefully, from the chop that you guys heard and that I heard, we can hear more of his story and like a better image than what was on Nerd Girls per se. And even the one that was on Nerd Girls, I've got the clip of that as well. So definitely check it out. The project, like I said, it's like a social experiment. I think it's really cool for people to be able to like update their worldview and not be so petty when it comes to change, stuff like that. Serena, how are you doing? Yeah, Hextech says, I should have been in the garage. Best internet connection, weird. Yeah, like I said, it's not easy, man. Like it's taken me a couple of times to just get everything right. And even the earlier streams, it's like, man, this is terrible, But anyways, after a little while, it's been a little bit more bearable with the connection and stuff like that. But it's all just a learning curve. I mean, everyone, their location is a little bit different. So no, I mean, thank you for coming on and thank you for being able to share, some of your story. It's been really cool to hear. Identity block, Children of the Grave. Love it. Hex and Pulse for the win. Yeah, as far as Pulse goes, I'll end it in just a few minutes. This isn't going to be a super long stream, but on, I think it's Pulsechain.com. Let me go to, so Pulsechain.com. It's got, 7 hours, 10 minutes, and 8 seconds left. But that's actually not the one I wanted to show you. It was the Pulsely.xyz, because that's actually got the full time. So let's actually just tab over real quick. We'll take a look at Pulsely.xyz. So yeah, we've got 1 day, 7 hours, 9 minutes, and 46 seconds until the actual sacrifice phase itself is over. So at the beginning, I think it was like the first 16 days, you got like a possible multiplier or like bonus, but now that phase has ended, it's just a solid like 1.75 x bonus from where we're at now. Yeah, children, it's been a minute since I made that clip. Actually, it was a long time ago. But he says the way Richard Hart says Valiant brand in that clip is a bit aggressive. Yeah, it's like I said, no one's ever perfect. And sometimes, it might not come out as you had predicted to. But yeah, I've got that clip and I've got another clip of Richard Hart shouting me out. And, it's always nice to get the founder to corroborate what you think. Ronaldo Kroon says, my brother Hextech, what's good? Yeah, it's really awesome, right? We've got so many Hexicans within the States alone, let alone Australia, Europe, all these other different countries. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a Hexican in Antarctica, right? So it's so cool to see that, hey, we actually are global, we actually are worldwide. And I know that there has been like some slow progress with like the Chinese and like the Indian community, and now there's videos that are being rewritten in Mandarin or, Chinese language. And so it's cool to see that, hey, the message is definitely getting spread across through everyone. Love your shirt, guys. Yeah, thank you very much, Serena. It's cool to represent. Does anybody else see a giraffe? Zadio's clipping. Who is Nagabo? Man, let me just find Nagabo real quick, because this guy, if you're not following this guy, you haven't seen entertainment, okay? Let me Let me just post the channel. So it's in the YouTube comment now that I just posted. So just check it out. Nagabo is a Hexican, was initially like a big XRP gentleman. And we had him on a couple streams. We donated him some hex. We kind of got him into the program. And at first he wasn't like understanding it all the way. And then he finally understood like the T-shares, the daily interest, etc. that was coming out with Hex. And that was really cool to see him kind of have that light bulb moment. Yeah, Hexdeck says, nice jump today. Another Hexican I onboarded. Awesome. The cool thing about Hex and the cool thing about Pulse is the product itself and the founder itself is so great that like it's just like betting on Steve Jobs or, you know, like Bill Gates and stuff like that. Like, hey, if you're good in one sector, you'll probably be good on, you know, the next project and stuff like that. So it's really cool that anything that Richard Hart has done has always been, not always, but ever since a very young age has been successful, retired early, stuff like that. What's up, David? How are you doing? Hextech, you got this. Oh, nice. Johnny says, hey guys, I'm stream bouncing. Didn't even know which one was going on at the same time. Didn't realize. Clicking the like and dropping one for the algo. Appreciate you, Johnny. You do great work. Hex Moon Gang, when teleport. It makes me feel better knowing I wasn't the only person in Montana paying attention to the development of Hex. I remember the first time Richard Hart mentioned Hex. I FOMO'd on minute 1, LOL. Yeah, someone posted a like a GIF the other day of like Richard Hart and some sort of Bitcoin Hex, and it had like the salt sprinkle GIF, something like that. And anyways, I was like, Bitcoin Hex, like I haven't heard of that in like over a year and a half, you know. So you definitely must be OG. So that person was definitely they had saved the gift for a long time, and definitely an OG. Father and son, no, but you know, just another cool Hexican to stream with. And Peanut Butter Hexer says, I was a day 2 because Richard Hart said in his stream not to FOMO. Peanut Butter, that is a smart ass decision. You know, I tell you what, I messed up the first time getting into Hex and had honestly sent me to the origin address. And for anyone that knows anything about that, the contract itself is locked and, you know, admin keys thrown away. So couldn't even have done anything even if he had wanted to. And so I had realized, oh, you know, this crypto stuff, even though I had been in since 2017 and 2019, just hadn't been used to the MetaMask and, you know, extra permissions and stuff. So quickly realized, you know, not your keys, not your crypto, be very sure about where you send to and stuff like that, and got it to work. So, but yeah, day 2, that was smart of you to listen to Richard Hart because, you know, just like he never necessarily warned again day 1 as far as AA goes, but for the Pulsechain sacrifice, he was definitely like, you know, day 1 through 5 is going to be the best, and he ended up being right there. So yeah, Tony, hope the audio as well. He said, David says, was he in Vegas? Looks familiar. Yeah, he was definitely in Vegas, and I think I got to say hi to him for just a handful of minutes. But you know, hopefully next Vegas trip, I can definitely maybe spend some more time being there and kind of just getting acclimated, and hopefully get more footage and stuff like that with everyone. So early PHEX will only be available to buy with Pulse. Do you know? Will Pulse be worth nothing initially? Yes. So Pulse and all, you know, PRC20s will be worth nothing initially, right? And it's important that that's the case because Richard's mentioned that obviously he's not a financial advisor, et cetera, but depending on what country you're in, you know, if you're in the US and whatnot, you probably will have a taxable event if you receive it at value, just like with the Uni airdrop, with the, you know, Tornado.cash airdrop, the 1-inch airdrop, stuff like that, right? It was all airdropped at a certain value. So it's important that Pulsechain doesn't fork and that it doesn't airdrop with its value. And Richard had said that could be as short as like 1 day. before, okay, we all realize it's got zero value, day 2, whatever happens, and okay, now we've got price discovery. So they say, so early PHEX will be only available to buy with Pulse. I mean, it just comes down to like what all is set up when it's initially put out, right? Because you can have bridges that can kind of allow for that. And it's all kind of just speculation game, so whatever you think is going to happen, maybe have a 50% hedge in case it doesn't happen. Nerd Girl has the perfect elevator pitch for Hex. Yeah, definitely go check out her Twitter. She's got great work. All right, I'm gonna end the stream in just a couple of minutes. We kind of had a short stream for today. Not much to cover, right? I mean, like I said, if you haven't sacrificed, well, maybe consider being a part of the faster, cheaper, fee-burning Ethereum fork, things like that. And when you see that the community metric, when you see the amount of people that are in Pulsechain versus Hex, and you see how much Hex has grown, and you see that its growth is natural, it's not fabricated, stuff like that, then maybe that is a good metric for people to be interested in Pulsechain and to kind of run up its price and its technology. Over 700,000 right now. Hey, what's up, Nostarov? Says, yo, greetings from Twitch, everyone. How you doing? We're not going to stream much longer than this. I just wanted to hear a little bit about Hexdeck 16 story, and then also, just talk a little bit about Pulsechain. Sometimes there's more information, there's less information in each stream, kind of just depending on what's gone on that week and what's going on with stuff like Pulsechain, stuff like that. So yeah, shout out to my Montana Hexicans. What's up? Hey, what's up, Kinetics? How are you doing, my friend? Yeah, definitely go see the Discourse Syndicate. Shout out to Kinetics. He's great. He does Wake Up Hex. So last question I'll probably answer is Billy Elliott. Says, lots of people became millionaires from BitConnect too. This is great. This is going to be great. I watched all the YouTubers explain the early bonuses. If you can't understand where the yield is coming from, you are the yield. Okay, I mean, well, the yield comes from the inflation, just like it does with Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin's yield and what is its cost to inflate the cryptocurrency? Sure, BitConnect was inflationary, but it was also the literal definition of a Ponzi scheme. I mean, you can't compare the two. I mean, it's just like one's water, one is milk. I mean, anyways, Hex is audited. It is proven that just similar with Bitcoin, where it inflates via its mining algorithm, Hex inflates via its mining algorithm, but it's just proof of stake, not proof of work. BitConnect had a bot, some sort of news event, some sort of thing for you to buy into, some sort of like trading algorithm bot that was supposed to like generate the yield and things like that. And it ended up just being a glorified Ponzi scheme. And anyway, so yeah, there's no corroboration to what you're saying that proves that, Hex is a Ponzi, Hex is a pyramid scheme, things like that. They've all been proven wrong, right? A Ponzi is when, the next person is trying to get in new people so they can make money. And it's eventually a cycle that has an endpoint where the kind of rug just pulls all at once. And then same thing with pyramid scheme. It's not that way at all. Hex is only one level. There's no pyramid scheme about it. I think you should go to hex.com/tech specs. I think that's the one you need to go to. All right, that's pretty much it. We're gonna end the stream here now. Oh, okay. Go over to Matty Allen. Yeah, sorry about that. Didn't realize he was streaming. We're gonna end the stream here now. Not much else to cover, so go over to Matty Allen's stream, and we'll see you guys next time.